In this video, I'm going to show you how can we call Lambda function from API gateway and eventually calling the URL with the query body and get the result calculated by Lambda function. There is a reason why I'm starting this one. I'm going to finally query Athena table and bring back the result by API gateway, and operation will be executed by the Lambda function. So now first I will show you a simple example of triggering Lambda function from API gateway. So let me straight away go to Lambda first. Let me create a Lambda function for that. So let me name it as API gateway trigger for Lambda. I'm going to run Python 3.8 and keeping everything's default and create. So when I create a function, it will create a template code. Here it is. Now in this code, so I will use this event body. So my query body will be equals to JSON dot loads event body. Now let me print out what's the result is going to be. So that's a simple example. Later I'll figure out what to do with this body. So let's say if I deploy this function and if I create API gateway, so APIs, I'll create a REST API. Okay, so it will be a new API. So let's say API trigger for Lambda. If I name it like that, I'll keep it as regional. So let me go and create it. So in here I will create a method. I will do a post. I need to define this first. So let me name it as this one. Is going to be triggered by this Lambda function. I think copy didn't work. Straight away. Okay, create it. Okay, let me test this first very quickly. So this is post request, so it needs a body. So let me create a JSON body for this one to be like x equals to 1, then y equals to, let's say, 5, and then operation is add. With this body, if I make a request, what will happen? Okay, it has triggered. So this hello Lambda has been returned from here. Now I will see what happened here with the print statement I have written. So with the print statement, yes, it has printed this data. Now let's say from this query, okay, let me deploy this first. Deploy API, new stage, dev. Yes, it has been deployed. Now I can query this from Postman. I don't think copy has worked. Let me copy again. Copy. Yeah, it has copied. Now let's say I'm choosing a body raw and in a JSON format. So if I pass here like X 1, then Y 10, and then operation add, and if I call this, okay, authentication error it is showing. Okay, so because it is a get method I'm calling, it has to be post. There are a lot of other ways to pass this message that we need post request only. So those kind of things I will modify later point of view or later point, and then I will show it how do we properly communicate or properly log it if there is any failure or any error happens. So in this case, okay, I'm getting that same message. Let's say I'm going to work with this data now. Now if I go and modify my Lambda code a little bit, what will happen is, let's say X equals, so I'm knowing that I'm going to pass this body and I will get the operation result back in this panel. So let's say X equals query body X same. Okay, this double equal is not needed. Let's say I know this X and Y are going to be integer and this is going to be a string. So let's say int, if I convert it into int and then int, so I'm just keeping it simple. If somebody passes string, what will happen, we can apply a try catch block here to block them or to return a proper message. So just trying to keep it simple. So let me create a few methods. Let's say definition add. So if I pass X and Y, it will return X plus Y. If I define a function subtract X Y, then it will return X minus Y. Similarly, I can write functions like multiply and divide X into Y, divide X divided by, I'm going to get the decimal points also, that's why using double slash. Now I will write a statement, if statements, if this operation, this is going to be operation equals to y operation equals to add, sorry, then call add x comma y. So that's going to be my result. Yep. And then so yeah, I will create a result dictionary and dump it in this JSON and return it with 200 code. So in here, so I'll say result equals to a empty dictionary, then result x so I'll create a dictionary like, so result equals x then y sorry, and then in this result I will do add now result equals this. Now I will just do the same operation for other operation. I will just do a similar else block for divide. Yeah, so divide by 0 I'm just ignoring for now in this function. It can be more modified. Else if it is multiply, it will be multiply, and then if it is divide, okay, add, divide, subtract, we missed subtract, then call subtract function, and then here I'm going to dump this JSON result, this dictionary into JSON format, and then return it. Let me see what happens here. This. So if I just call this add internals where something is wrong, so I'll go and check in the CloudWatch log. Oh, something spelling mistake, I guess. Query body, that spelling mistake has caused an error. Deployment done, and I'll call it again. Yep, so this is the result I'm getting. Now if I say 100 divided by 25, and if I just pass divide, this is the result I'm going to get. Let's say if I just add here, if somebody passes any other information, any other operation, so I can say result I can say this one. So operation is not defined in this lambda function. Deploy this. Let's say I'm going to calculate, I'm trying to calculate percentile. So in this case it should return percentile is not defined in this lambda function. So all my functions are running correctly. So I can call an URL by passing a body and get the result from the lambda. So this is nothing but similar to web call or REST API call, if I may say, with a body. Now if we have to if we want to get method call and with a body here, instead of body, if we have to pass it here like the web call we do, let's say for this web call, so what do we do is, so any web call, if you see here, so this is the home URL, and then we are passing the query methods like query parameters we are passing. So in this case we have to use a get method. Instead of that, I'm going to show you that one as well here. So in that case we cannot use this query body function, we have to use query parameter for that. So let me do that quickly. Let me first create a get method here. So I'll add a method here, dev stages here, action, create method. I will create a get method, and yeah, I'm going to modify this same function. So now if I change this, so that is the reason the get was failing in the first place. So if I do a get and call it even with the correct parameter, let's say x equals 100 and y equals 25 and operation equals add, if I do that, it doesn't work, it fails, it says authentication is missing. Now for this one to work, we have to create a get method and call it using this one, and I'm going to check this box proxy integration, otherwise it doesn't convert this API call into query parameter properly. So I'm going to save it. So that's done. Just to test it very quickly, so not this. So if I modify this code here to query parameter, query string parameter, parameters, then x, this one should work. Yeah, now this one will not work. It will come with query string parameter now. deploy this, and let me need to deploy this. I think axon deploy API dev deploy. Okay, now it has been deployed. Yeah, the result is coming now. It was taking some time to deploy. Now if I do divide, it will give me the result. Now if I make a post request, this will fail because first thing, this doesn't have a body and it doesn't have a trigger for post. You can see here there is only one trigger, which is a get method. So if I request this, it will fail. Yeah, because we don't have the trigger. And second thing is, with post, query string parameter will not work. We have to use query body, event body in that case. So that explains how do we make a post and get request. Similarly, we can make put request as well using API gateway and get the result from the Lambda function. So that ends this video. In the next video, I will query Athena data by passing some query body here and get the Athena result via Lambda into this console here. So that's going to be my next video, and I will show how can we change this URL into our own website, our own DNS. We can change it too. So in the next video I'll show you that. Thank you.